Good day, everybody. My name is Chris Mollison from Ascom Network Testing, and today we're going to interview Monica over here, particularly around small cells and HetNet and some of the challenges that we face with that. Monica, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, this is Monica Paolini, Senza Fili. I've been working in telecoms for a long time on the RAN, on the core, and Wi-Fi, so licensed, unlicensed, and small cells and the densification has been a real topic of interest for me, and I started looking at it when you know the idea came up before even LTE was around, and initially the thought was that it would be very easy. You just put small cells everywhere, and it would take just a couple of years, and it's taking a little bit longer, but I think we're going somewhere now.
Right, and so what are some of the challenges that network operators face today in terms of densification and actually being able to get these cells out into the network and live, and where do you think they're going to go in the future?
Well, so we know where they're going. Densification is something that can now be avoided because we do need more capacity, and you might get more spectrum, you're getting better technology, so we are progressing on all those fronts, but that's not enough. You definitely need to densify, and every operator agrees to that. So we know exactly where we're going. What we do not know is the speed of where we're of which we're moving, and exactly how that is going to work out. So at the beginning, the model for small cell was like the Wi-Fi model. You have a small access point, you just put it wherever you need it to be. When you need capacity there, you just put it there. And that's a very appealing model. It just doesn't work. And it doesn't work because for a small cell, unlike Wi-Fi, you do have a pre-existing macro layer network. So with Wi-Fi, you put Wi-Fi, and you only need to care about is the next Wi-Fi access point. If you put them separate enough, you're fine. You still need to do some planning, but it's only at that level. When you have a HetNet, you have a macro layer and you have a small cell layer. Sometimes more than one small cell layer. You have multiple layers. It's not just a two-level, oftentimes. And oftentimes it's using the same spectrum, the same channel. So there is interference. You have to manage that. At the same time, you need to put your cells next to where your subscribers are. So you can put them wherever you want from a physical point of view, but you are constrained in terms of optimizing the location with respect to the users and minimizing the interference with the macro layer. So it's not trivial at all. And so you need to really plan for it. And when I talk to operators, what they would tell me is that sometimes it's actually more difficult to plan for a small cell than a macro cell, because macro cells you can only put them on a cell tower or some other locations, but you can't just put them everywhere. And you only need to take into account the neighboring macro cells. When you put a small cell, you have to take into account other small cells, macro, and whatever other infrastructure is there. So you have more flexibility, which is great, but with flexibility you have to pay a price. So you have to pick the right trade-offs. So that's what is really, it's a huge learning process, and operators have learned a lot. And I think that the first learning is like, it's not that simple, and so you need to really plan well. But the problem is that you need to be able to plan in a scalable way. And that's where I think, that's where we are right now. You need to have a way so that you can plan accurately, but without being too expensive or requiring too much of an effort. And I think that that's the focus now.
Okay, so and it's one of the challenges, isn't it? The cost of planning out this network and having tools and services available that are really cost effective for the network operators and for the users as well.
Absolutely, because this is the main challenge. You want to have small cells, increasing capacity, but they have to cost less than macro. The cost per bit has to be low. How can you do that? So right now, when you look at a typical deployment, the cost of the hardware it's a very small part. Really, the cost is in the installation. And so the main, when you try to lower the cost for both operation and installation, of the whole deployment, what you want to minimize is the cost of installation, because that's really the major source. So you need to be able to find a solution that allows you to make the whole process much smoother, faster, and there's a lot of learning to do, but again, that's where the focus is.
And in terms of 5G coming out, how do you think that's going to influence the macro, micro cell and rollout and planning? Do you think that's going to have any effect, short term and long term?
Well, we don't really know exactly what 5G is, but what we can say is that no matter what it's going to be, we're going to have many more interfaces out there, using more frequencies, and they will be more closely integrated with each other. So the network planning and the way you architecture your network is going to be even more important, because it's not just a question of having capacity. You have a different types of capacity, different type of infrastructure, and you need to understand how they work together. So when you plan, you have to keep that into account.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for the time, Monica. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you.